When you decide to invest in a company, that usually comes after a lot of due diligence you make, looking at the financial statements and analyzing the viability of this information. So the higher the standards of the investor relation, that means you will get more accurate information, more adequate information that will help you make a better decision.
What most fund management companies do is really to analyse companies in some detail. So we really look at the business model itself, we look at what they are doing, what the operations are about, and then we will look into the forecasts for the company itself, so the projections that are being made. And for this you really need to have the input of investment relation professionals as well as senior company management.
Our capital allocation process actually depends on our investment decision, and where the investment relations department comes in is when we're trying to determine what the valuation of the company is and how we're going to value the company. So if you look at companies within the MENA region itself, company with the strong fundamental drivers that have good communication policies with the investor community actually trade at a premium to their peers in the sector.
As IROs tend to be our first point of contact with the company, I think that relationship definitely plays an important part in our investment decision.
As investor relations spend a lot of time explaining the company, the mission, and all the maybe the quantitative sides of the business, for us also it's very important to us to explain to them our mission and what we are planning to do and what the kind of investment horizon that we're looking for. So we are very keen on developing a long-term relationship where it's usually a win-win situation for both of us.
We are looking to have a mutually beneficial relationship in a sense. They will provide us access to management, site visits and understanding of the business model. It comes down to corporate governance almost. The IRO is the ambassador for the company itself, and having a very good investor relation person can make the difference between somebody investing in a company and not.
When it comes to disclosure kind of rules in this region, I think it's very important to realize what is sufficient and what is enough and what is efficient. If you ask me, is it sufficient? I think it is sufficient. But is it efficient? I would say we need more work on that.
When I started in Saudi Arabia 6 years ago, really it was the Wild West. You went in to meet a company and they really were confused as to why you were there and what you were trying to extract from them. But over the last 6 years, there's been a steady progression moving towards best international practice. And now I think there are a number of companies which really are superb in what they provide. And the IRO really here, as the mouthpiece for the company, is doing a fantastic job. So it's definitely improving, still a long way to go, but in the right direction.
The IR should be empowered by senior management of the company to be able to discuss all aspects of the company with competence. He or she should have the authority to talk about the operational drivers, forecast and guidance, but also be able to discuss any risks or any issues that surround the share price at the moment when we speak with the company.
I believe they should know their company inside out. And what I mean by knowing the company is not so much the operational details, but the strategic direction of the company, where the company is heading.
He or she, the individual or the team, need to be incentivized to have a more open communication with the investor community, have prompt responses to any inquiries, releasing press releases or discussing any issues or news surrounding the company in a more clear, concise and open way.
I think it's quite critical for the investor base to have regular meetings with the management team, not just for deal roadshows, but even non-deal meetings or conferences to get an update on where the company is going for the year or next year.
Code of conducts are really very important in our line of business. They set the ethics that you will follow and what you should and should not be doing in many senses. So to move to international best practice, you need to have that code of conduct which sets the ground rules, so to speak, and from there you will actually move forward.
The code of conduct, I think it's a very important document. So if you really you want it to be part of the genes of the company, you want it to be part of the new paradigm of the company, and you want your higher management and employees to believe in this kind of attitude, it has to come from the higher levels of the company, which is the board. the board needs to read it, needs to understand it, and needs to believe in it.
By setting up conferences, seminars to educate not just the IR teams, but also to educate the investor base here is definitely fostering that relationship between the two sides.
I think putting this kind of framework and bringing investors, investor relations, and investors and sell side, and even all participants on the market coming and speaking and discussing about these issues, not only will increase awareness, I think it will give a very strong message to companies and even to regulators in some aspects that it's a very important thing. It's not a luxury to have. It's a very crucial thing to have if you are looking to develop your markets and to be one of the growing markets.